Shree Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanam Manikya Maulispurat Taranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhim Apinamakshuruham Panibhyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Somyam Ratna Ghadastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambika. Welcome to all for this session on Lalitopakhyanam. In the previous part of this story, we have seen how Sati was interested in attending the yagna being performed by her father Daksha Prajapati, even though Daksha Prajapati had not invited Shiva and Sati on the account that Shiva had not honored him being himself a father-in-law. And even though Shiva is the lord of the three worlds, uh, Daksha Prajapati was still filled with the arrogance that he, being the father in law of Shiva, he should be honored by Shiva and not the other way round. And continuing with the same enmity, he did not invite both his daughter Sati as well his son in law Shiva. And with that consideration, Shiva told Sati that it is not good to go and attend when they are not invited. And at the same time, since Shiva is not invited, this yagna will lead to destruction. On hearing that, Sati was under the impression that she can go to the yagna and she can convince her father regarding the greatness of Shiva and save the yagna from the further destruction. So when Sati all the way traveled along with her handmaids as well as with her Ganas, Daksha Prajapati trembled with wrath at the sight of his once beloved daughter. His face reddened with rage, and his hate for his son in law leaped to his eyes. With eyebrows knit in anger and eyes flashing fire, he averted his face from his daughter Sati, while the assembled guests feared to look upon him with forebodings of some impending disaster. Daksha beheld his another other relatives with gentle and loving looks, but turning towards Sati Devi, they were charged with consuming hatred and wrath. In the absence of his son in law, his harsh abuse and invective was directed towards his innocent daughter, who stood dumbfounded and shut her ears at the unexpected innuendos hurled at her. Reapproaching her lord and husband, she had not expected her father to inveigh thus and put her to shame and humiliation before her beloved relatives and all that assembly of great ones. Her father had indeed called her husband names and described him as an inauspicious looking beggar smeared with ashes from the cremation ground, clothed in tiger skin, with a begging bowl in his hand, with snakes for ornaments, and surrounded by ghosts and gnomes. If he only knew what grandeur and majesty lay behind his outward appearance, he had also imputed ahankara, pride, and haughtiness to her Lord, who is ever peace and calm personified. However, Sati feared now that her lord's anger might accomplish if her father's blind wrath were to rouse his indignation. She turned to her father and said, "O father, why this outburst against your daughter, your own flesh and blood? What has caused this great change in you that you rail thus at your once most beloved child and humiliate her in the presence of this great and magnificent assembly? What sin have I committed against you to merit all this unwarranted abuse thrown at me? Am I not innocent and free from all guile and unfaithfulness? Is it not my great love and affection for you that has drawn me here to you in spite of you not having invited me or my husband? Daksha replied to her with arrogance, "You are innocent, but your sin lies in having married that beggar who passed for a great tapaswin and cheated you into loving him in spite of his most inauspicious appearance and retinue. Just as a clear crystal reflects the color of the article with which it comes in contact, you are now tainted because of your husband. Nay, you have become foul because of him, as pure cow's milk is foul by contact with a dog. You are not my daughter now, but the wife of a Kapali, an Avadhuta, roaming in the burning ghats and smearing his body with ashes from the burnt corpses. Begone from my presence, or this Yagna Shala also will become foul because of your presence." Sati Devi replied to him calmly, "Nay, father, speak not thus. My husband is ever auspicious. Appearances are always deceptive. Though covered and bedecked as he is, there is none other in the three worlds more handsome or more auspicious or mightier than my husband. Why speak even of his presence in the place like this Yaga Shala? His very name Shiva is enough to purify the place and all therein. He is auspiciousness incarnate. The two syllables of his name are capable of liberating one from the wheel of samsara, granting always more than one's desires. He is easily pleased. He harbors no ill will, nor can anyone's ill will affect him in the least. He is beyond the pairs of opposites and ever serene. His absence from this Yagashala renders it incomplete, bereft of its lord and sustainer. By his absence, your yagna will remain unfulfilled from the very start. How can wood burn without fire? How can water flow without its fluidity? You do not realize what you stand to lose. For unreasonable wrath has clouded your mind. I know you will not pay heed to my words either. How can you expect to tend this mighty tree of Mahayagna while you cut down its very roots in blind anger? You are gambling now, bidding your entire wealth and fame and name, yourself and relations, your friends and dependents against mighty odds, the magnitude of which you are not able to gauge. May not your name and fame sink into obscurity, nor your greatness as Prajapati remain forgotten. May you not be held responsible for the extinction of your entire race. Let not all these good Brahmanas reap the whirlwind because of your rash act. O Father, rebuke not my husband who wears the three worlds in his body and protects all as his devotees. He ever reveals in the bliss of the Atma and is untouched by any vagaries of mind. Call him now, and he will come, as though no difference had ever existed between you ere this, and your yagna shall forthwith become complete and fruitful without a doubt. The fire of his wisdom tolerates no impurity, and how can anyone's wrath will taint him? He is like the super ether, unaffected and beyond all agitation. Even Maharishis who have realized the highest bliss told him in great reverence and prostrate before him. He is verily be adored and worshipped by you instead of being made an enemy of you if you desire to prosper. At these words, Daksha could contain his rage no longer. He shouted, saying, "Stop eulogies of my enemy and remove yourself from my presence instantly, or you shall be further humiliated on account of your so called Lord." Thus, in this story, Sati Devi tried all her way to convince her father regarding the greatness of Shankara, Shiva, because the very name Shiva means auspicious, Mangala. So his presence can only bring auspiciousness to the yagna, and his absence will certainly going to make the yagna futile and fail. But in spite of all those things, though Daksha was earlier knowing what Shiva is, but because of his arrogance that he is the father in law of Shiva, so he should be respected by Shiva with that self arrogance, as he is filled with that self pride, his ahankara is now leading to his destruction. Namaste Sharada Devi Kashmira Puravasini Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidyadanancha Dehime. Goodbye.